All right, now to our explainer tonight, there's been quite a bit happening in the judiciary here in the country. Allegations and petitions against several members of the Supreme Court. Now, you know that the Supreme Court has 7 members, the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, and 5 other judges. Currently, there are petitions against 6 of them. Let's start with the Chief Justice, David Maraga. A petition has been filed against him by a person called Yusuf Dimbil, who's accusing him of nepotism, attending homecoming parties for politicians and making reckless political statements. He now has 14 days to respond to those claims. And remember, this comes at a time when his retirement is due next year. He will be turning 70 years old. Then his deputy CJ, who's not facing a petition at the JSC, but rather a case in court. She's facing 5 charges relating to abuse of office, unlawful failure to pay taxes, and conducting herself in disregard of the law. Then comes this one involving 4 members of the Supreme Court. That's Justice Jackton Ojwang, Lady Justice Joaquin Dungu, Justice Ibrahim, and Dr. Smokin Wanjala. Now, this is with respect to the election petition of Wajir Governor. These 4 voted to uphold his election. The other 2, that's Justices Isaac Lenaola and the Chief Justice, had a dissenting view. Now, it is said that in the conduction of that case and the judgment there was gross misconduct, misbehavior, incompetence, and breach of the Constitution and oath of office. We'll be discussing this quite extensively in the news gang just a little bit later on, and you'll see how Professor Jackton Ojwang features in not just 1 but 3 petitions. I will be explaining in just a moment. Here he is again. This is the man who now has a tribunal to face for his removal. And the president now has 14 days in which to do so. What was the case involving this? Well, Nelson Onyango and others have accused him of conflict of interest, handling a case against the Awendo Town Council despite having close association with the Migori County governors. He's accused of impropriety, receiving favors like a road that has been built through to his house. He declined to appear before the JSC, citing constitutional immunity for the decisions that he made while on the bench. Now, he will now be facing a tribunal, but remember, he's also due for retirement next year because he turns 70. Now, when we take a look at the functions of the Supreme Court, and before we get there, so you understand how important this is, Jackton Ojwang is involved in those 2 petitions. But there is also one that was had before the 2017 election. If you recall, he and Lady Justice Joaquin Dungu were accused of boycotting work, and that petition was taken by Apollo Mboya, lawyer to the JSC. The JSC found the 2 of them culpable and proceeded to reprimand them. Apollo Mboya remained unhappy with that decision, said that was not within their purview, that they should have formed a tribunal. For now, Jackton Ojwang will be facing that tribunal once it is named within the next 14 days. Why is this all important when we have 6 Supreme Court judges facing petitions or facing allegations against them? Well, this is why. As you know, these are the functions of the Supreme Court as put out in the Constitution. Hearing and determining presidential election disputes. They are the final appellate jurisdiction for all appeals across all the courts, and they also give advisory opinions to various state organs. Remember the one they gave on the progressive of the gender rule? That was one of them. Remember the other day they also had the case regarding hijabs in schools. Now, 2022 is beckoning. Our elections are almost always very close. They have ended up at the Supreme Court twice, in 2013 and in 2017. There were 2 cases at the Supreme Court. So politicians are no doubt watching what will happen, how this will play out, and how it will be reconstituted. Of course, once those 2, we have told you, who are retiring. Also, all others. Remember, a lot of people look to the courts to be the final arbiter of all disputes in this country. So what does this say when the Supreme Court, the top organ in the judiciary, is facing such serious allegations against 6 of its 7 members? A lot of people watching to see what happens here. And remember, there will be a lot more that will be discussed later on as we continue with our show. So that is a snapshot of what is happening at the Supreme Court.